live. How you doing? My name is Joseph Ngugi, one of the new Grad PT mentors.
And I'm Javier Carlin, the other new Grad PT mentor. We went back
Old
to
school.
Old school.
All right. So tonight what we want to talk about is really just kind of going back, like Javi and I were talking about really how we felt when we first got out of PT school. And the one thing that we could both agree on is the fact that there was a very clear difference on just how everything was as PT students, as physical therapy students. What's up, Megan? How you doing?
Hey, Megan.
As physical therapy students, we felt that there was a very clear structure as to how, you can close that, like as to what your next goals were, as to whether it was preparing for an exam or a midterm and so on and so forth. But once you become a physical therapist, that's completely taken away. You don't have any milestones. There's no structure. There's nothing that you're pushing towards. And really what that does is, for a lot of new grads, at least, is feeling very confused. Or feeling very, I don't want to say flustered, but you just kind of feel like you're in a blob where you're just trying to survive. You're just trying to figure out your clinical skills and whatever else is needed to succeed as a physical therapist. But in reality, you end up feeling stuck. You feel stuck because you don't have a game plan for what the next phase is, for what the next step is. It's not like a semester where I'm just trying to finish up before, Thanksgiving or whatever, and know that after Thanksgiving I got an exam, so I got to study start Friday, And so it's not like that anymore. So now, stepping back, we have to ask ourselves, like, what are we doing personally to make sure that we're not getting ourselves, caught up in a rut where we're getting stuck as physical therapists, where we're not pushing ourselves, progressing and growing ultimately. And what we're going to share with you tonight is really how we've chosen to really navigate through it. And really, it's come from our habits. And our habits were pretty good to begin with. Yeah. They were already pretty good. Throughout the year, we have different habits. Javi and I had stayed together here at my place for some time when he first came down here. We have similar habits. We both wake up early. We both like to read in the morning. Javi likes to work out in the morning. I'm more of an evening workout. And so we have certain habits that just allow us to, really, by the time we see our patients, we're able to kind of determine how we feel by the time we get there, because we have certain routines that just get us into that mode where we're ready to go. Right. But we still knew that as we're getting ready for 2019, which for us, really, with our job, we're opening up really a few clinics within the next few months, and it's actually happening now. We're getting ready to open up the first one within the next month and a half. It's already there. We're just transitioning into moving into it. As we're doing that and more, everything online, we realize we're taking on a lot more than we're used to. So we have to become even more efficient. And so we're going to share with you tonight what we're doing and something similar to what you could also do to make sure that you stay as efficient as possible as a new grad PT. Javi, what are we doing, man?
Yeah, so we've actually started to, and just to kind of go back to what Joseph was saying very quickly, is the fact that after so there's always, throughout physical therapy school, there's always that next test. There's always that next big goal, the next big thing that you have to accomplish to pass that phase and go into the next phase. Usually for us, after graduating from physical therapy school, obviously you have the MPTE, the boards to pass, and then after that, the next big thing is finding a job. But what happens after we find that job? That's something that no one thinks about. It's like, all right, now I have a job, 9 to 5, okay, cool. How are you going to continue to grow? How are you going to continue to push yourself? Obviously, we decided to go a certain path. Everyone's path is a bit different. But for us, like Joseph was saying, we're taking on a much greater load. And we could either decide and say, we're already too busy, let's just not even try. Or let's stop doing live streams as much. Let's, just push things back and just hold off on things for a better time. It's obviously never the best time to do anything. So what do you do when you think you have the really good habits and you think you're being efficient with your time? You can always be more efficient with your time. And I think that's something that we tell our students and our interns as well, is that you can always, there's always times where you're wasting a few, like, 20, 30 minutes to an hour here or there, where you can be,
we waste a lot of time.
We waste a lot of time. Myself and Joseph, obviously, we feel like we accomplish a lot, but there are still some times where we're like, you know what, we could probably make better use of this, even in the clinic, for example.
True.
So this is something that we've started doing. It's actually, I've actually mentioned it in the past few lives, but I think we're gonna just dive into it a bit deeper today, because I think it can really help you if you're struggling to find more time to be more productive, be more efficient, and to really, I think what this has done for us is allow us to be more focused and intentional with our day, and not only with the things that we have to accomplish, but also with the way we feel, with the way we interact with our patients, with our staff, with our significant others. It allows us to do that intentionally. Now we're not just leaving things up to chance, we're actually thinking about it early in the morning, and then while it's happening throughout the day, we're actually portraying what we wanted to feel ourselves and also make other people feel. And I think it's been working really well for us. So so this is actually, and again, like I said, I spoke about it already, the High Performance Planner by Brendon Burchard, and essentially what it asks you to do, so it's basically a thing that you do on a day-to-day basis. And one thing that I started doing, I was waking up at 5 in the morning before to go to the gym. I force myself now to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to spend 15 to 30 minutes actually doing this. So when people say, oh, I don't have enough time, everyone has the same amount of hours in the day. You just make the time to do the things that you need to do.
True.
And that's what we've done. So so essentially what you do is you kind of go through these questions to put yourself in the right mindset for that day. You kind of figure out what your priorities are for that day and what you have to accomplish, the things you must do. And then the evening, you actually go back and spend like 10 to 15 minutes actually going through like an evening journal where you decide, like, did you do the things that you said you wanted to do? Could you have made it better? What interactions did you have that maybe didn't go the way you planned? And how could you, like, going back in time, how would you have acted in a better way? How would you have presented yourself? What would you have said instead? And that way it gets you to think and reflect, so that the next time something like that happens again, you're actually like being the person that you really want to be, the person that you want to become. So this has worked really well for us. So you do this on a daily basis, but after every week on a Sunday, for example, you actually get to reflect on the past week, and then it dives in deeper into, like, okay, let's go back and figure out, what did you learn? What mistakes did you make that you could learn from? What did you do that was actually pretty successful?
Exactly.
But now these are the things that allow you to spend some time thinking about your life, where a lot of us don't take the time to do that. And this is everything. It's everything. And then aside from the weekly review, now there's also a monthly review, and it's pretty intense. It really is. Like I've never thought about doing this in my life, but the more that I think about it, the more like I feel like every single person should be doing this, because we only have one life to live, and might as well live it live it with a plan.
True.
Right? So do you want to kind of go over like what this looks like?
So what it looks like, and I know I can't like zoom it up or like focus in on it so you can see all the details, but really it starts with really saying today's message to myself. Like, what message do I have to myself? And taking the time, and usually you want to give yourself about 20 minutes at least to do this, so you can do this, obviously appropriately, and so you're not rushing through it, so you have a very clear game plan of what your day is going to entail. But what's today's message to myself, based on how I'm feeling, based on whether I feel excited, whether I feel like frustrated or worried or stressed and whatever. What's my message to myself? Number 2, what are my top 3 goals or priorities? So you list those down. You want to look at that and say, what are my priorities? What are my goals? What are my top 3? What are tasks that absolutely need to be done today? Things that are non-negotiables, that if I don't do these, I should not be going to bed before they get done. Who are persons or people that I need to lead or connect with today, and how to do it well. Those are the first 4 things you're doing. And then it gets very personal, where now you're saying your morning mindset. What is one thing that I can get excited about today? Or one thing I can get excited today about is, and then you write it out. If one word could describe the kind of person I want to be today, then that word is blank. And why I choose it is blank. Number 3, someone who needs me on my A game today. Who needs me on my A game today? These are questions you're asking yourself way before you get outside of your apartment, house, whatever.
And that's an awesome question too to ask. because I read the actual book, High Performance Habits, and the way they say to use that question is to actually raise necessity in your life. So essentially, that's a question that you can ask yourself, like before you start any task. Let's say I'm about to open up my computer and I have like certain things I need to accomplish, whether it's emailing people back, which you kind of have to do, whether it's whatever it is that day. You actually ask yourself, who needs me on my A game the most right now? So that brings your attention to the present. It brings your attention to that specific person that needs you. Because when you're doing, a lot of the times when we're doing something for someone else or need to do something for someone else, we'll actually get it done faster and better than if it was for ourselves. So now you're creating this accountability in your mind, essentially, because you're asking yourself this question, which is extremely valuable, so valuable. Yeah,
exactly. And so then number 4 says, a situation that might stress me out or trip me up today could be. So now you're already being proactive about figuring out what might mess up or throw off your day.
Yep.
And the best way to deal with that would be, and then you're literally starting to problem solve way before something even happens. So you're prepped for the worst possible scenario for your day based on what you are going to tackle. That could be a patient, that could be an employer, staff member. It could be a lot of different things. And then someone I could surprise with a note, gift, or sign of appreciation is, and then you write their name down. One action that I could take today to demonstrate you guys never sleep. David, we never sleep, bro. Actually, we do. And so one action I could take today to demonstrate excellence or real value is blank. One bold action I could take today is blank. If I was a high performance coach looking at, this one's good.
I love that one.
If I was a high performance coach looking at my life from a high level, I would tell myself to remember that blank. The big projects I have to keep in mind that I want to take on, even if I can't act towards them today, are blank. You're always focused towards something. You're always locked in on something. And this is just allowing you to navigate your day. And then the last question for the morning is, I would know that today was a great success if at the end of the day I did or felt these things. Now, why I like that question is because it's very easy to go through a day one, either just doing a bunch of actions, thinking that you're just surviving the day and really ending up in the dark. But on the other hand, it's also very easy to go through your day not having realized that you actually did a lot of things that made you successful that day. And because you don't have that perspective and you don't see it as successful, then you end up saying, well, that was a terrible day or that was a rough day. But when you have something that allows you to measure that, when you say, whoa, if I can, I did those things, I felt those things, today was a successful day, that becomes an absolutely amazing thing. And then in the evening, it allows you to then also reflect on your day. But really what that does is it gives you a compass for your day. And then at the end, you have a daily habit scorecard where you're pretty much scoring yourself on the amount of clarity you had, the energy you had, the necessity you had that day, the productivity you had, the influence you had, and the courage you had throughout that day. And now you're just allowing yourself to be able to reflect, be proactive in the morning regarding your day and just how you're going to prep for it, but also being able to, on the back end, look back on your day and say, okay, this is what I could have done better. This is what went great. And now going to sleep, you have a very good game plan for the following day. And this is now part of just your routine.
Yep.
These are the habits that make you a high performer.
Yeah, that's it. Today's live stream was just all about letting you know like what we started doing to become, like I said, even more focused, more efficient, and live a life with intention. Because ultimately, you don't want to have those days or those weeks where you're like, man, I don't even know what I did yesterday, or you don't want to be living through the motions. You should never be feeling like you're going through the motions, because at that point you're just waiting for your life to pass you by. And if you don't think about these things on a daily basis, then what is it all for again? Like what are you living for? If you don't have the answer to those questions, then man, it's time to just really start reflecting on what it is that you're doing.
You got it.
What goals do you have to set for yourself? What are you working towards? Because there always has to be a bigger vision for what your life has to look like to really live a life of purpose and passion and really just leave your legacy in whatever that looks like for you, whether it's for your family, for the friends, for the world, right? So
that's it
for tonight. Thank you so much for watching.
You have a good night. Get some rest. Many blessings. Bye.